Express is a Node.js package that allows you to handle incoming HTTP requests from the client and send outgoing responses back to the client. This is the request response cycle, and it allows you to easily manage all of your incoming and outgoing requests. Let's take a look at how it works. Hi everyone, I'm Kylan, and I like to learn as much as I can about programming and software development in general, and I love passing that knowledge on to others. So if you like to learn as much as you can, or if you just have an interest in programming, make sure you hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bells so you never miss another upload. Let's get right into it. Alright, so as you can see, I've got a blank VS Code file open here. There's not even a file open, but the first thing you want to do whenever you work with Express or a Node.js package in general is you need to initialize the package. So let's go here and let's open this in terminal here. Alright, it's very basic stuff here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to run an npm init. Alright, and this is basically just going to walk you through all of the things you can just enter through this. This is going to initialize the package. You can just keep hitting enter until you get back to your command prompt window. And this is going to initialize the package.json file. This is the file that is used to keep track of all your different packages that you have in Node.js. But we're not talking about Node.js right now. We're just going to talk about Express, the one specific package right now. So the first thing you need to do once you have initialized your npm repository, you want to do npm install Express. Alright, and you need to have Node.js installed for this. I will link that down in the description below so that you can install that, but you do need to have Node.js installed for this. If you want to know what version of, or if you want to know if you have Node.js installed, all you have to do is run an npm --v and it'll give you version number. If it doesn't give you a number here, it gives you some kind of error or something, you need to install Node.js. Alright, so to install the Express package, we need to do npm install Express. Alright, and it's going to run a little bit. We'll let that run for a second here. And once it installs, we'll see our node modules here. They just popped up. And these are all the dependencies that Express requires. These are other packages that Express uses to work, basically. And anytime you have... anytime you download a new package, it will install its required dependencies and put it in the node modules folder. You don't have to worry about the node modules folder. You just completely ignore it. Alright, so if we open this up here now, we can see we got the package.json. Now this is your entry point basically into Node. So right here you can see we have Express version 4.18.2. Alright, so we're not going to worry about that. Once we have Express installed, though, like I said, it'll pop up right here. Once we have it installed, we first need to create a new file called index.js. Alright, now this index.js file is going to be the entry point for your entire program. So basically, Express is going to look for this index.js file. So the first thing we need to do in this index.js file is require the Express package. So we're going to say const express is equal to require, and then just call that function Express. Alright, and then we're going to also extract that packet. Well, we've already required the package here. This just brings it into the file. Next, we're going to execute it. So we're going to say const app, and we're going to save this return value into the variable app. So we're just going to call Express, just like that. All right. And now we will use this app variable for just about everything. All right. And the first thing, once we have included the file, once we've executed the Express, and save the return value in this app variable, we can now listen for incoming requests. The app variable has this listen method that is going to listen for incoming requests, and all we have to do is pass in a port number here, and it'll listen on that port. And we can also pass in a callback function, not required, but we can pass in a callback function, console.log listening. All right, and that's all you have to do to set up a basic Express app. So now if we open up our terminal here, and we type node index, and if I just tab, it'll automatically autocomplete. If we hit enter, you'll now see that we're listening. All right, and let's just pull up a browser window real quick. So now that I've got a browser window opened up, let's navigate to localhost : and then our port number 3000. So we've specified our port number is 3000 over here. We have to put 3000 after the colon over here, and we can hit enter. And we could also do this on 127.0.0.1 : our port number. We could also do that. It works the exact same way. But either way you want to do it works perfectly fine. But what is this cannot get slash? What is this all about? Well, what this basically is saying is that it can get to the server. The server is there, it's alive, but it's not sending anything back to the client. It's not finding a route that it can send anything back to. So it's saying I cannot get this slash, which is the default route for any domain, basically. So it's basically saying I cannot find the route with slash in it. So let's fix that. So if we want to go over here and we want to send a request to that slash, we are going to specify the app, and then there's a method on the app that is called get. All right. Now there are multiple different types of requests. You can have a get, you can have a post, you can have a put, you can have a delete, and there's another one. But get is the request that we are going to use for now. But whenever we first start a route, we need the route name. So this one is going to be the first route. It's going to be just slash. All right, and that's like I said, that's the default. You go to google.com, it's actually google.com/. That's the home route. All right, and then we need to put a comma, and then we need to pass in a callback function. Now, this is the request handler. Now, this accepts up to 4, maybe 5 arguments, depending on how you're doing it. But right now, we're just going to set up 2 basic arguments. We're going to have a request, and we're going to have a response. Now, the request is the request coming from the client. All right. So this web browser here represents the client that is trying to access your website, and over here, this represents the server that is going to send a response back to that client. So the client requests something like, if I say get me google.com, it'll send a request off to Google. Google servers will handle that request, most likely in a similar fashion to this, and it'll send it back to me in the form of a web page. So if I just say, let's see. So the request and the response variables hold different things. We'll get to the request here shortly, but we're more focused on the response right now. So let's just do a response.send, and this will just send anything. All right, we can send hello, and if we refresh our page here, actually we need to restart our server. If we now refresh our page, we can see that we got a response hello. And it works if I go to / as well. It just redirects me to this. But if I do / and then something, it's not going to work. It's going to say I cannot get / something. But if I go to / again, I'm going to get that hello. Pretty neat. Now we can also send HTML back. So if we wanted to say hello in an H1, all we have to do is write the HTML tag here. All right. And it's a little tedious, but we don't have to do this all the time. Hello from the server. All right. Let me get rid of that. And now if we refresh our server again, and we refresh here, now we've got hello from the server in an H1 tag, and it's automatically parsed as HTML once it gets back to the client. Now you may be saying, this is all great and all, but what is this request here? What is this request used for? Well, the request variable is used to send information from the client, extra information from the client to the server. So generally, we would use something like request.body or request. We would use request.query or request.params. And these are all different methods to access different things. So something like request.params, we can, if we had it set up, we could do a console.log, all right, and we can console.log the params. Now I've changed this a little bit here. So now we're going to do / and after the / comes a colon. Now what does this colon mean? This colon basically is telling the server that anything that comes after that, until you see another / at least, that is going to be a variable, which can be anything that you want. So we could do ID, we could do user, we could do anything that we want, and we'll see that whenever we log out the parameters. So let's just keep it ID. Let's restart our server here. All right, and let's go to something like /123. All right, if we go to something /123, you can see down here that we're logging out ID as the value 123, and it's stored in this object here. Now, how is that useful? Well, if you're doing something like working with a database per se, and you've got a slash route, and you want to get the user ID, you can set it up so that it will pass in whenever somebody clicks on something. It'll pass in that user ID to the URL, and then it'll be sent to the back end, and it'll be parsed as that variable. And then you can use that variable, whatever that random ID is, for however many millions of users you may have, and find something in a database based on that. Or you could use it for just about anything else. But request.params, the request object in general, is a little bit farther down the line than the response right now. So let's take a look back at the response. So the response can send back many different responses. It can send back, we can send back plain text. All right, we've already seen that. We can send back plain text. We can send back HTML. Right. So we can send back HTML. What other stuff can we send back? Well, we can send back JSON as well, and we can send it back as an object. So a lot of times you want to, you don't want to get a whole web page. You just want to get a small piece of something. So you send a request, and you can send back JSON, and there is a response.json object. You can send back JSON, and you can use that on the front end. So if I wanted to say name, and like that, we can see that it sends back JSON. Now this is just because, you know, I've got an extension installed that makes it pretty, but you can see that it's sent back name and then my name. So there's many different things that you can do with Express, and I'll dive more deeply into it in later videos. But for now, that's the basics of Express and exactly how it is used for regular routing and managing HTTP requests. So if you do like the video, please make sure you like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I will answer as many as I possibly can. So thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.